Hey, it's Doug from the Rise Up Gym channel. Do you have any knee pain that's causing you not to work out your lower body? Well, I have some exercises and suggestions that you can do to continue to train your legs and keep them strong and healthy. Let's check it out. We all know that knee pain can come in many forms. It could be an acute thing where we jump and land and something happens or we're like, uh-oh. It can also be a chronic thing where it's over time, years of playing sports or just mobility limitations or strength limitations that cause knee pain. So whatever it is, we can work around it. And I'm going to show you some things that you can do to train the lower body still without hopefully causing more knee pain. Now, we don't want to stop training the lower body because one, you'll lose strength, obviously. You can lose muscle size, and also the legs are the foundation for pretty much everything that we do. Locomotion, obviously sitting, running, all that stuff. So we want to make sure that we maintain some semblance of proper leg strength. This is not a rehab protocol. So if you do have knee pain, especially some type of acute knee pain where it's an ACL or an MCL, please see a physician, see a physical therapist, and then come up with a game plan to get better. I'm just talking about dull knee pain like I have sometimes in my right knee just from wear and tear over the years from sports and other mild injuries. What we're not going to do in this workout, we're going to avoid compression. So let's say squats and lunges where we're just putting closed chain pressure on that knee. And we're going to avoid any type of deep flexion where we're flexing the knee, squats, lunges, etc. So let's start off with some of the exercises. I'm going to break this down into 3 categories. First one's going to be a little bit of foam rolling or soft tissue work. And the second one will be mobility. And the next one we'll do our strength exercises. I do think that using some type of foam roller to massage the tissues out, hydrate the tissues is a good idea. Now we can go through the full body one. I have plenty of those videos on my YouTube channel that you can check out. But I'm going to target specific ones that can cause knee pain if they're too tight. Now we've all heard runners talk about IT band syndrome where just a lot of pain on the outside and the muscle right here turns into a very thick tendon and attaches to that knee. If that muscle gets tight from just staying in this inward fashion and doing a lot of exercise and not getting out to stretch it out, you can cause a lot of knee pain. So we can roll that area out to help relieve the tension on this muscle, which will help relieve the tension down the chain on the IT band, which will help the knee move more freely. So I'm going to take my ball here and I'm going to get on the side of my glute. I'm going to cross my top leg over and I'm just going to gently roll on the side of the glute. I'm rolling on the soft stuff, which is the muscle. So I'm not rolling on the bone itself, and I'm moving around in various areas the best that I can. Now, I'm not going to roll down the IT band. Several reasons. One, it hurts. 2, the IT band is very, very thick, and foam rolling will not penetrate the IT band itself enough to cause it to relax. They've done studies where it's one of the strongest tendons in the body and you can barely do anything to break it up. So it's kind of pointless to suffer through that pain and rolling on there. But if you release the muscle, it'll help release that tendon a little bit, which could potentially release the knee itself and cause less dull pain. Rolling the calf is another great idea because the calf attaches to the lower portion of the bottom of the knee. And if that gets tight, it's going to pull the knee in the other direction, much like the IT band's pulling this way. The calf can pull down this way. The knee has not a lot of room to go, and it's just going to be strained or dull pain. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to roll down the middle. And the nice thing about this ball is I can make circles and then get on the different heads of the calf and find out which ones are a little more tight, and I can focus on that. I also like to turn my toe in and toe out. I just did the opposite there. So toe in, toe out. I don't know my ins and outs, but I'm going to roll in there and then try to alleviate that to give my knee a little more space and freedom to move around. Lastly, we're going to roll on a muscle that's frequently avoided and not talked about. it is the front here. So the anterior tibialis. That's just a fancy name for the front of the shin muscle. It's on the outside portion of the leg. The inside is all bone. Don't roll on that. We're going to roll on the outside. What this muscle does, if it's tight, is it pulls the toes towards you, towards your nose, and that can cause tightness down the back. You can see my pants when I do this, it pulls down. Just imagine that pulling on the knee joint. So I want to roll that muscle out to, again, to help relax that knee and to help alleviate any dull pain that we have. So I'm going to get on here, and this one can be a little tender. So I'm just going to roll. The nice thing is I can do it this way and not put all my weight on there, or I can really put more weight and sink into it. And I want to try to stay on that outside portion of the leg and roll full range of motion. And then hopefully that'll release my ankle a little bit more and make my knee feel a lot better. All right, we just finished our foam rolling. Let's do a little mobility work. Mobility work is great to do before your general workout, or you can do it in between sets. So let's say I'm doing a set of pull-ups. I can easily throw in some hip or ankle mobility in between while I'm actively resting my pull-ups. The mobility exercises I'm going to show you are ones that can help alleviate some type of knee pain if you have it. These are just general things. Again, this is not a rehab protocol, and these are not inclusive of all types of mobility that can help you. These are the ones that I find that are most common with knee things that you should work on, and probably the most tightest on most people. The first one we're going to do is hip internal rotation. So what you can think about hip internal rotation is the knee moving inward, so internal inward. So I'm going to just support myself here. I'm going to sit up and I'm going to drop a knee towards the floor, moving my hip. I try not to move the other side because I want to isolate this side. And I'm just dropping in and coming back. If I can do it pretty well, I can scoot a little bit more forward, change the angle a little bit, make it a little more difficult. As you can see, you'll see on me, most people have one side that's, moves well on that direction and then not as well in the other direction. Most sports are single-sided, or you rotate more to one side more than the other. They just do different things on different sides. Let's just say that. So as you can see here, I got to kind of push a little bit more to get that internal rotation. So when I do that, that's going to help get my hip to move a little more freely, and that'll help take a lot of stress off the knee. So you want to look above and below joints. So if my hip's not functioning properly, it's going to be taking the brunt of it down, so the knee will take the brunt of it next. So if I can't move my hip all the way, the force goes through the knee more and it feels more of the pressure. Now, if you have a little meniscal issue, tear in here, just be careful. This one you might be able to feel it a little bit, so just be cautious of that when you're doing the hip internal rotation. The second one I like to do is hip flexion. So we're gonna be in this 90-90 position. I'm gonna dramatically tuck my tailbone underneath me, and I'm just working this hip flexor here. So this is my flexion here. We wanna open up this muscle. Sitting, driving, even playing sports, bends the knee up towards the body and shortens this muscle a lot. Not only does this change the angle of the hips, which can cause some back things, it can also move here and shorten the quads, which puts more stress on the knee. And like we talked about, above and below, we want to open things up so the knee is able to move freely. So if I open up this muscle, my quads are going to be a lot looser, my deep hip flexor muscles are going to be a lot looser, I'm able to perform better, and my knee will feel a lot better, just moving around, and might not have that dull pain. The last mobility one I'm going to give you is ankle mobility. So again, above and below the joint, I want to make sure that my ankles move properly, because if they don't and they stop short, all that pressure is going to go through that knee and cause some pain. So let's say I'm running or sprinting and I don't have enough mobility, it stops here, everything is going to go up that chain and then affect the knee. So very simple, you can do pulses forward. I'm going to support myself here. I'll have one leg up and I'm just going to shift forward, making sure I maintain proper alignment. And I'm just shifting forward to my ankle. Once I get settled, I'll keep posture. And then of course you can do both sides. Another way you can do it is the classic calf raises. So I'll find an elevated surface, I'll drop down, I'll get a nice stretch in my calves, which feels pretty good, and I'll go up to the big toe and then drop down again and do those. Lastly, like I talked about earlier, we're going to work the front of the shin or the anterior tibialis. If this muscle is tight, it's going to pull here and then cause the knee a little more lockout and it's not able to bend as much. So I want to make sure that this muscle is loose and I can plantar flex well. So I'm going to put my toe back this way and I'm going to do the pulses going forward, shifting my body forward and stretching out the front of that shin so I can get this muscle to allow me to do this so I have good ankle range of motion, which takes a lot of stress off the knee. All right, now we'll do the strength portion. Again, these are not the most traditional strength exercises that are going to get you squatting 1,000 pounds. These are exercises that you can do to maintain your strength and also build up some stability in the legs so you can go back to doing those other exercises like the squats, lunges, and deadlifts, step-ups, etc. when you feel better. Generally, these will not hurt your knee when you're doing them. If they do, just either change a variable or avoid it for a little while until you're able to do them. We're not going to do, again, heavy compression or bending of the knee. The simplest one is going to be the hip bridge. So we're going to flatten our low back. We're going to bend our knees. So I'm going to flatten here so there's no space. Bend my knees about a squat stance. And I'm going to push in, squeeze my backside until I'm completely flat at the top. And then control down, maintaining alignment of the knee. So I don't want the knees wobbling around. I want to feel stable, tight squeeze, and smooth on the way down. So you can do a 2 legs, which is the intro way. You can also do a single leg, which is a little bit more challenging. And then one that I like, if you want to activate the quads a little bit, especially the inside, the vastus medialis, we're going to put a soft ball here. You can also put a foam roller or something else, and I'll flatten, bridge. And as I'm bridging, now I'm squeezing into the ball. My legs don't move that much, but I'm getting some more activation in the quads, which are essential for knee stability and strength. Another great quad builder that doesn't put a lot of stress on the knee are quad sets. If you've ever done physical therapy, you've probably done these. What I'm going to do is I'm going to relax my leg here. I'm going to straighten them out, have my hands behind me for support. I'm going to squeeze my quad. I call it making a fist out of this leg. And then I'm just going to lift and then down. I personally like a relaxation period and then a squeeze again. As you can see, when I squeeze, everything straightens more. This toe pulls up and it's activated and I'm moving it upward. I'm not using my body to lift, so try to eliminate that. Sit up nice and tall. You can sometimes support yourself with a stability ball, but I just want to lift up. And right there I would stop, or else I have to manipulate a little bit more by using other muscles. So that's all you want to do, and obviously do both sides, but get that relaxation in between. You can take it to the next level by putting something down like a ball or a dumbbell or a kettlebell. I'm going to tighten up. I'm going to lift and bring it over and relax. Tighten again as tight as I can. Lift, over, and down. You should feel your quad burning no matter how strong you are, and this is a good way to build up that strength around the knee and make your knee feel better. For my clients that have knee injuries or dull knee pain, I found that Romanian deadlifts are still pretty good to do and they don't bother the knees too much. So Romanian deadlift, you can do a bunch of ways. You can do it with a barbell, you can do it with a kettlebell, you can do it 2 legs at the same time or a single leg. So the 2-leg version is I'm going to grab my kettlebell and I'm going to grab on the outsides and roll my elbows in. I'm going to have my feet a little narrow, so a little bit more inside of a squat stance. Roll my shoulders back and down, bend my knees slightly, and I'm going to push my hips back, back, back until I feel a stretch in my hamstrings. So for me, it's right here. I don't want to go too much lower and lose all that tension. So again, real time here, bend the knees, push back, back, back. When I feel a stretch, I squeeze my glutes and come up much like that hip bridge. What I'm not doing is dropping my hips. My hips stay up, so there's no real flexion of the knee during the movement, so it usually doesn't add a lot of pain to that knee that's already feeling bad. The next one we're going to do is a single leg version of the Romanian deadlift. So I like to hold the weight on the side of the leg that's going back and stand on the opposite posting leg. So I'm going to stand on that leg, I'm going to bend that knee, have everything on its own side. I'm going to grip pretty strongly on this bell, have this out for balance, and I'm going to reach back without dropping my hip. When I feel a stretch, I'm going to pause and then drive up, much like a step up, and swing through. Again, I'm not doing a lot of knee flexion because I'm not dropping my hip, and I'm feeling a lot in my hamstring and my quads and my glutes, even my ankle a little bit, without a lot of pressure on my knee. So this is a great exercise to throw in if you don't have knee pain while you're doing it. The last knee exercise I'm going to give you for the strength round is a terminal knee extension, or TKE, with the band. Much like the quad set, we're just going to get a little external resistance pulling, and we're going to make a fist and pull back. Now, some people don't like these exercises because they say it's not very practical from a movement standpoint because we're not supposed to shoot our knees back. But I'm not worried about making it practical for a movement's sake. I want to activate the quads and strengthen the muscles around the knee, and then you can do other exercises like running, squats and jumps that will kind of make it practical for movement. This is just an exercise to activate the muscles around the knee. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a band and I'm going to put it just above the back side of my knee. And I'm going to stand, I'm going to try to keep my hips still, so I don't want to use my hips for leverage. And I'm going to squeeze and lock out that knee and then control back. Even when I'm going back to the beginning, I don't want to shoot my hips forward. So I can get a little more tension, squeeze that quad tight. I like to hold for a half second so I know I'm there. And then let it go back, squeeze, and back. If you're very good at it, you can do more reps, you can get a tighter band. You can also balance with it and see if you can do it standing on one leg. You're going to feel a whole lot more activation out of the ankle especially. Which brings me to the final one, a little single leg balance with the band. So I'm going to go this way so you can see me. I'm going to put the band just above my knee. I'm going to bend this knee slightly where I have no pain. So this knee caused me a little bit of pain, so this will be a good litmus test for myself. And I'm just going to bend and hold. I'm going to try to keep alignment so I'm not letting it move around too much. I'm just going to hold. It's going to pull my leg around. Hard to do this and talk, but it's going to pull my leg around, and I'm going to try to keep center, straight down, big toe down, and I'm just moving around. If I feel like it's easy, I can go a little bit further out, moving around, just trying to activate the muscles of the hip and everything around it. The other thing is I can change angles, so I can go back here, sit in a chair a little bit, hold, I can turn around the other way and do it a bunch of different ways. I want to thank you for watching this video. Hopefully these exercises allow you to continue to train your lower body without causing more knee pain and actually help you heal so you can go back to doing the things you like to do, squats, deadlifts, lunges, and even sporting activities. So thanks again. If you like the video, please like it down below. Also consider subscribing as we put a new video out every week. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.